and welcome back to TaytoMade. Today I wanted to start my Halloween costume. So this is going to be part one of my Lady Zurg costume. I'm stoked for this one. I love Toy Story and I don't think it's a costume that's done a whole lot. So I'm really excited to build it. So this is going to be a multi-part series. And the first thing that I want to build is Zurg's arm bracer things. So let's get started on that.
Alright, so let's talk supplies. This is all the stuff that I used to make these bracers. So you're going to need some templates, which we'll make out of just regular white paper. And I'll show you how to make those. You also need just some scrap paper to protect your work surface. Some sandpaper, I just used a soft grit dollar store sandpaper. Some sheets of craft foam that you can get at Walmart, any color will do. You'll need hot glue, a cup for your paintbrush. For paints, for this one I use spray paint and acrylic paint. They both work really well. Mod Podge, paintbrush, an X-Acto knife, a razor blade, and a pencil. A few other things that I use that I forgot. Your stove, a cylindrical object, Velcro, sponge brush, and a Sharpie. So the first thing we're going to do is make our template. What I've done here, I just took some regular printer paper and taped it around my arm vaguely in the shape of the bracer that I want to make. It's just two sheets of paper sort of taped together, and then I would draw and cut and draw and cut until it was exactly the shape that I wanted it to be. Then you take it off and kind of line it up, make sure everything looks good. And I drew some lines for where the paper overlaps, as well as some lines on the top because I'm going to do a two-layered bracer. So that line at the top is where that second layer is going to be. Then you can take those two pieces of paper apart and you're going to trace it on another piece of paper so you can cut out that second layer of the foam that's going to be a little bit shorter than the first layer. Then you go ahead and cut all those pieces out. Once it's all cut out, you want to make sure everything's lining up the way that you want it to. And then we're going to cut it out onto some foam. So you'll need your X-Acto knife and a Sharpie so you can draw on the foam. Just whatever color shows up on whatever color foam you're using. And you'll want to transfer the outline of the template as well as the overlapping lines. You'll want those to be on the foam too so you know exactly where they're going to line up. Once you've got it all traced, you cut everything out of the foam just like you did out of the paper. The bottom line, the line that goes around my wrist on my template, is a little curved, so I just free-handed those, but everything else I cut along a razor or along a ruler. And you can see I'm just doing it on a kitchen cutting board. I don't necessarily recommend that. I'd recommend a self-healing mat, like one you use for sewing and stuff like that, which I have. I was just being too lazy to get it out. And there we go. Now we've got all of the foam pieces, so we can move on to shaping the foam. And how we're going to do that is by using the stove. All you've got to do is set it on kind of a medium heat, and the heat will curl the foam and make it soft so you can bend it around something cylindrical and it'll fit better around your arm. And then once it cools off, it'll stay in that shape. And now we're ready to paint. So we're going to start by just doing everything in a layer of black paint. It's just a black acrylic. And even though two of my pieces are black foam, we're going to paint those two. That way everything starts with the same base layer of paint. We don't have any weirdness happening by not having paint on one of them and paint on the other. And we're going to do the paint on the front, wait for that to dry, and then also paint a base layer on the bottoms. Next step, we're going to do red on the tips. So I want my underneath layer of the bracers to have red on them. So we're going to do a base coat of that. And once it dried, it was a little light, so I did a second coat. Next, we're going to glue the bottom layers to the top layers, but we're not going to glue both sides of the bracer together quite yet. Just work in small bits and press the glue on as you go. And now Mod Podge. So what the Mod Podge does is it kind of puts a protective coating over the entire thing. It helps to stiffen the foam so it's more durable, and it also makes it less porous, so when we spray paint it won't absorb anything into the foam. So now for the spray paint. I want to protect that red so we don't have to completely repaint that, so I just wrapped some plastic wrap around it and taped it to the back. And then I went out to my balcony and put down some cardboard so it wasn't spraying the ground and sprayed away. When you use spray paint, you want to go in small bursts and make sure you keep a good distance from your work surface and just do lots of small strokes as opposed to just like heavily in one spot. Alright, now that the spray paint's done, I took the plastic off and just did a touch-up layer of the red on top to make sure it was nice and vibrant and I didn't have any spray paint bleed. Just make sure those brush strokes are nice and clean. And then we're ready to put it together. So I just used the hot glue again and glued the center seam. And now it's time for the Velcro. So it's really important when you go to glue on the Velcro that you use the sandpaper to take off the paint first. I tried to skip that step and just hot glue the Velcro onto the spray painted foam, and it just pulls right off and makes a big mess and makes you really sad. So don't do that. Just take a little bit of sandpaper and rub down those edges before you glue on the Velcro, and then just have somebody help you glue it on. And here's what I thought was the finished product until I decided to paint the inside. When I put it on, I noticed you could see the black, and I didn't want it to just look like foam, so I decided to paint that red too. And then once that dried, ta-da! Wait, what is that? It wouldn't be a craft project if you didn't screw something up. So make sure you always clean your work surface before you do another layer of paint. So some quick tips for you. Make sure you account for the foam thickness when you're making your template so you don't accidentally make it too small. Sandpaper is not optional. Be sure to clean your work surface so you don't muck it up like I did. Make sure you buy enough foam. I actually had to go back to the store and buy a couple more sheets. And always have patience because you're going to be waiting for paint to dry a lot.
Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed that speed build tutorial. Let me know if you make some bracers of your own or if you found those tips helpful. And let me know what else you want me to build. When I'm done with my Halloween costume, the world is my oyster, if you will. So, we got anything that we can build. So what do you guys need help building? Is it something I can help with? I don't know. Let me know. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye!